So yesterday, for the first time in my life, I flew business class. And no, it wasn't because I could afford it. I mean, I could, but that would be not a financially responsible decision from me. But it was because the airlines fucked up, and a father of a small little child had booked one business class and one economy for his family. And he was like, the child was crying and things like that. And so he just came up to me. He was sitting beside me and he was like, do you want to sit in business class by any chance? And I was like, what? And then he's like, yeah, do you want to sit in business class? I want to sit with my family. And the person in business class, of course, won't let me. And I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely. As long as you don't have a problem. He's like, yeah, absolutely not. I just want to sit with my family. It's the first time I'm flying with my son. So I just want it to be a good experience for us. I'm like, absolutely, no problem. And then I walked up to it, and this is like probably 3 minutes before the plane took off, right? And right as that happened, I sat in business class, and there was more leg space, there was more hand space, and all that basic shit, right? Things that I expected. I didn't, of course, I knew that it's not going to be insanely different. It's just three times or two times more expensive, but you get the point. Like I was one of those guys who used to always fly economy because I'm like, you know what, just done, get it out the way. Let's just move, right? But the biggest problem with that is that you don't get the experience of a business class, right? So when I sat in the business class, one of my main lessons was that a lot of people get into business class for the sake of networking because there's a person right beside you who could also afford it, who also values his comfort and his luxury and his time more than the economy people, right? I'm not saying this is always the case, but this is mostly the case. The people who sit in business class often also value more comfort and more being by themselves in a nice private setting than the price it takes. So imagine the people that are affording it. What are they doing for a living? So I just happened to strike up a conversation with the person beside me because I was reading a book, right? I was reading this damn book, and I it just so happened that the light on top, that the book reading light, had to be switched on, and I just tapped his shoulder and I was like, hey, listen, like, I'm gonna read this book and there's gonna be the light falling. Do you mind? Would you have any problem? He's like, absolutely not, absolutely not. And right I was reading, he happened to glance at my book and I was like, are you a fan of reading? And he was like an older gentleman. He was like, I think around his 65s ish, 70. And he was like, yeah, I used to read a lot back in my days. And then I was like, oh, okay, so what do you do? So, and then he was like, yeah, I own a construction company, and like, I travel quite a bit for some other reasons, personal reasons, and things like that. I was like, oh, okay, where are you based out of? He's like, Bangalore itself. And we just happened to strike up a conversation, right? So this person asked me, what do I do? And I was like, yeah, I do social media, but this business class is not mine, it's someone else's. He's like, ah, okay, I heard the conversation. And he was like, it's crazy. You do business at this age? And I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, what's your age? I was like, 23. He's like, okay, wow, what type of business? And then I was like, yeah, it's mainly to do with social media. Have you seen podcasts before? Have you interacted with Facebook videos that are vertical? He's like, yeah, I've seen quite a bit. I'm like, yeah, I produced a few of those for some big players in the tech space, the consumer brand space, and things like that. He's like, oh, okay, okay. And then he was telling me about how in his time, to start a business, you needed to work 20 years, 30 years, save it up, and then you can put all that money in. You needed big contacts. There's a big element of luck there. But then nowadays, kids can go online and just start a business like that, like I did. And he was telling me this is a very good thing because we also have fresh competition, fresh minds with ideas entering the market, and things like that. And he was like, I worked 40 years to be able to afford a construction company and to be able to start one. But nowadays, someone can go online. It's a big luxury. It's a very big step. Take it. Business will teach you things that other people haven't taught you any time in their lives and things like that. It was an amazing conversation. I did not take this person's contact because I was already late. It was already a very slow flight. Um, but I just happened to say thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. The conversation actually changed my perspective on a lot of things, right? And one of my biggest takeaways was the fact that fuck the probably 10 inches of extra space that you get on your hands and like your leg space. That's not why people buy business class for. It's one for the peacefulness of it, and second is it's to interact with other people who are also able to afford this experience, who also have similar values to you in terms of that comfort over the price and things like that, right? Who flies business class? C-suite people, top level employees, probably politicians, mostly business owners. So the people that want to fly business class have certain traits. They have traits of not wanting to bullshit. They have traits of being in their own closed community and not like too many people around you, congested, none of that shit. You will pay extra as long as you can give me a good experience. And also, they want to network with other people, right? Right as I was talking, I happened to glance past it and I saw two other people also introducing themselves. That's when I realized this is not about leg space. This is not about hand space. This is about networking. This is about getting to know other people that are in the same value as you, right? You could get into the most premium gym of all. You could get the most premium gym. You could go to the most premium um, fancy whatever, right? Restaurant, whatever. I believe even then, the percentage of people that you want to come network with is not as much as the people that would come on a business class. Because in the premium gym, it might be a rich son who has bought the gym membership for a rich father bought his membership for his son. Whereas in a fancy restaurant, it can be someone with the daddy's money. But whereas a business class ticket is by someone going somewhere to conduct business or somewhere very important and has the traits of wanting that comfort, wanting that space, wanting to network with other high level people. That's when I realized this might not even be about the fucking business class. Because imagine if I pitched this person and he said, yes, sure, let's talk about how to grow my social media, right? Imagine that was the case. And I paid probably 12,000 rupees for this one side business class ticket. And I am now making lakhs a month through this 12,000 rupees investment because I met one right person. That's how it works. This has opened up my eyes. I was one of those peasants who was like sitting down. I was like, yeah, okay, fine. We are flying anyway, so who cares if it's business class or economy? Like, we're going to the same place anyway. And I used to make fun until God put me in that situation. He was like, listen, stop thinking like a fucking peasant. Like, if you work hard and actually learn and keep growing, this is what your life is going to look like. You could meet these huge construction company people, huge software company owners and founders that could potentially change your life. I'm assuming this is how private works as well, but at a very high level. So you won't be meeting these guys who are making tens of crores a month, but you'll be meeting people who are making hundreds of crores a month. Essentially hundreds of millions or billionaires. That's how it works. And one of my mentors, who happens to be my family friend, he was telling me how the private flying space works, right? It's more for people to one is it's much faster and more convenient than the commercial flying experience, but it's also about the type of people that come in. And now, yesterday, after my experience there, that's when I realized, fuck, like this has opened up my eyes. Which is why you can see it's a new setting here. Like I'm in an Airbnb, essentially like trying to make a video on how my business class experience went for the first time in my life. But yeah, definitely life changing. Definitely eye opening. Yesterday was for me because the airlines fucked up. I got a free upgrade. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. Actually, they gave me a new ticket in the last second, and they were like, "Yeah, okay, there's a new seats." And right as I sat, that person came and he was like, "By the way, these are mine and my wife's seat." And then he went back and he was like, "Okay, now they're sitting in business class." And then he came back. He was like, "Listen, why don't you go to the business class? I'll sit with my wife and my kid." I was like, "Okay, fine, no problem. Let's see how it is." Sat down, and I was just trying to observe everything, right? But definitely, I think that my goal is to make fucking $100,000 a month and actually be able to go business class every single time so that I can talk about who I met, the type of people that come out there, or probably fly private in a few years, probably 3 years to 4 years, and actually talk openly and raw. Like as you can see here, there's no edits, nothing, about the type of people that fly private and business class. Life changing for sure.